I'm in Scottsdale, Arizona, because it's awesome here. It's beautiful and sunny and 77 degrees and perfect in the middle of winter. That's why one of my residences will be here by the end of the year, if not early next year. My primary residence won't be here. My primary residence will be somewhere else, far out of the United States, starting in 2021. But my United States residence will be here in Scottsdale, Arizona, because it's awesome. I'm so excited to be down here. It's great. A little different from where I'm from, Portland/Seattle area, where it's cold and rainy like 9-10 months out of the year, so slight difference. Anyway, the 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferris. I get a lot of questions about this. Is the 4-Hour Work Week real? Is it bullshit? Is it hype? Let's talk about this. So first off, Tim Ferris, who I like. I have no problems with Tim Ferris. I think he's a good guy. No real major problems with his life advice. A lot of it is Alpha Male 2.0. There's pieces of it that aren't, but a lot of it is. Most of it is. Weird with Tim Ferris because he looks just like my brother. I have 3 brothers, and one of them looks just like Tim Ferris. Just like Tim Ferris. So every time I see Tim Ferris talk, it's like, Jesus Christ, my brother. Tim Ferris, 4-Hour Work Week. A lot of hatred that Tim Ferris used to get, I don't know if he gets it so much anymore because I don't think he talks about the 4-Hour Work Week a lot, was he's lying. He doesn't work 4 hours. That is true. Tim Ferris was not working a 4-hour work week when he was promoting his book and doing all that stuff. That's absolutely true. Now, what was true is that he was working a 4-hour work week for a while. As best as I could tell, maybe 8 months, maybe a year before he started ramping up his income and ramping up his workload because he wanted to make more money and publish his book and all that good stuff, which is an interesting point, which is tied into this, which I'll maybe circle back to at the end of the video. So, yeah, that's true. He wasn't working a 4-hour work week. Tim Ferris was working 50, 60, 70-hour work weeks. He works very hard, like I do. The question is it possible for you? Was he doing it at all? I believe he was for a while when he was selling his supplements or whatever online. I think he was working 4 hours a week or so for a while. And he decided to raise his income, so he decided to increase his hours. So that's the first thing. Second thing, is the 4-hour work week attainable and doable? Yes. I personally know guys who work those kinds of hours. 4 hours a week, 10 hours a week, 7 hours a week, 15 hours a week. I've said before, and I'll say it again, I could if I wanted to, and I don't want to do this. But if I wanted to, I could work 15 hours a week and sustain all of my income. I wouldn't be able to grow my income. It would stagnate, which might be fine, depends on your objectives, but I wouldn't be able to actually increase my income if I worked more than 15 hours a week. I want to increase my income, so I do work more than 15 hours a week. But that's my decision. I don't have to, and that's Alpha Male 2.0. The point is working when you want to work, not because you have to work. So now, back to 4 hours. Can you sustain a small Alpha 2.0 business on 4 hours a week? Yes, you can. You can do it. It's doable. I know people who've done it. I've seen it done. Regardless of whether Tim Ferris was doing it, it can be done. Now, are you going to be making shitloads of money on 4 hours a week? Not unless you are a retired multi-gazillionaire. Probably not. So you need to adjust your income goals downward if you want to if you don't want to just work 4 hours a week. Could you make $75,000 a year, which is the Alpha 2.0 minimum, on 4 hours a week? Yes, you probably could. Matter of fact, I know at least one person doing that. So yes, you could. Probably not a lot more than that, but you certainly could. And maybe there are exceptions to that. And if you are an exception, you're welcome to let me know. But yes, that is a doable goal, especially if you live somewhere that is very cheap. If you live in Paraguay or Thailand or Colombia or, cheap places like this, you could sustain yourself on a lower income working just 4 hours a week. You can do that. The big issue that, at least in my opinion, with the 4-hour work week is what else are you going to do with your time? And I have talked about this myself. A lot of other, not other, because I'm not a financial guru, but, get-rich kind of gurus, they will talk about how, oh, yeah, I made all this money, and by the time I was 28, I was a multi-gazillionaire, so I retired, and then I sat on the beach, and then I got bored, and I went back to work again. Yeah, that's what happens to guys. So if you want to work 4 hours a week, what the hell else are you going to do with your time? Now, if you're an old man, maybe you're going to enjoy life and retire and kick back. That might make sense. But if you're not an old man, what are you going to do? So if you have an objective of working 4 hours a week, which is a doable objective, you can do that. You can pull it off. Okay? You're going to work hours that are longer than 4 hours a week to get to the 4-hour work week. Okay? I want you to understand that. You can't just start off working 4 hours a week and then making the six-figure income or whatever. No. You're going to have to work hard hours for a while to get to the point where you're making, whatever you want to make on 4 hours a week. But once you're there, then what? What are you going to do then? Got to think about that. Kind of a big question. I would not be happy if I worked 4 hours a week. If I was a billionaire tomorrow morning, I would not be happy if I only worked 4 hours a week. If I was a much older man, if I was in my 70s or 80s, again, still, if I was only working 4 hours a week, I wouldn't be happy. I like to work. I like to have things to do. Men are creatures of work. We like to have projects to work on. I would still work. Now, I wouldn't work 40, 50, 60, 70 hours a week. I wouldn't work the hours I'm working now. That's probably true. Matter of fact, that's definitely true. But I wouldn't work 4 hours. I'd work more than that. Now, you may say, well, Caleb, I'm not like you. I like to chill. Great. Then while you're chilling, you need to define for yourself what it is you're going to do while you're not working the rest of this time. 4 hours a week, just think about that. So, that's half of a day on 1 day a week, or 2 hours on Monday and 2 hours on Thursday, whatever that is. What else are you going to do with your time? Will that fulfill you for 20 years? That's the big question. Will that fulfill you for 20 years? So my story is that, and I've talked about this before, when I was talking to one of my mentors, Brian Tracy, many, many years ago as a young man, I was in my late 20s. I'm almost 50 now. He said to me, what do you want to do once you retire? Because I said, I want to retire by age 30. He's like, all right, what do you want to do? And I said, I would travel and I would have sex and some random stuff, right? Young guy stuff. He's like, okay, that's cool for about 6 months, maybe a year. Then what? Now you're 31, now what are you going to do? I said, I don't know. I guess I'll go back to work. He's like, right. So what else are you going to do? It's not about whether or not you can accomplish that 4-hour work week. It's about what are you going to do with your life if you hit that objective. This goes back to mission. Missions are beyond goals. So if you have a goal of a 4-hour work week, what are you going to do after that? Your mission should guide you. If your mission is compatible with a 4-hour work week, it may not be. Those are the questions you need to ask. Not whether or not a 4-hour work week is possible, because it is. It is possible. What are you going to do after that? Much more important.